What's happening, car guys and car gals? It's Lou Ramirez, the car guy.
And it's Fred Lenart's Subprime Hero.
And we are excited to be brewing solutions with you today on the Car Guy Coffee Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have this incredible gentleman brewing solutions in the cafe today, and we are going to get to who he is. But before we get to who he is, you need to get some people in the cafe.
Come on.
Tag a car guy.
Tag a car gal and share. Come on, keep sharing. Sharing is caring.
That's right.
I'm in a singing mood today because we have somebody on this show that I'm super excited. Ever since I've met this guy, every time I see him, dude, his smile alone is infectious. You can see it across the room, not just because he's a tall guy, but because his smile is like this freaking big, man.
Big
and he brings energy everywhere he goes. His energy is what made me really go, I want him on the show. He mentioned it. I was like, yes, I do. You're exactly the type of person I love to share into this world. I want people to see that there's people out there in this industry that have the type of personality that he has. I want people to know that you can come into this industry and have fun. And he's going to be that guy who's an example of it. So let's make this happen. Captain, you know what I'm saying? I'm pumped up. I'm excited to have this guy on the show because I'm just saying this is going to be fun.
This is going to be a blast. So you got to make sure that you are doing what it is that you need to do as a solutionary and get this poured out there for everybody. Car guys and car gals, if you want to make sure that you are brewing solutions with the best, that you're swagged out and you got plenty inside of your cup to sip on, make sure that you do go to carguycoffee.com, brew all the other solutions of all those other solutionaries that are making things happen in the industry, because we are on a quest to brew with the best. And we have had so many incredible people that have blessed these microphones that you need to hear what it is that they're putting out, just like today. So we're not going to do this intro much more. We are going to go ahead and get things cooking because it smells like a solutionary is inside of the cafe and is bringing some good stuff and some fun stuff. So, we got to get that music going. Hit that beat one time. Here we go. So car guys and car gals, help us to make welcome in the cafe today, the one,
the only, James Klaus! What's up, bro? Welcome to the cafe.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys. I'm very excited and trying not to smile quite as big as you said, but it ain't working.
It's crazy, bro. Like across the room, you see him, you can't help but notice it. That's the first thing I noticed about this guy, and I'm so excited to have you on the show. What's going on, James? How you doing today?
I'm absolutely fantastic. It's a beautiful day up here in Minnesota. We don't get to say that very often, so I may say that 7 to 12 times on the podcast today. But it's a beautiful day, and I'm just happy to be here, and I'm honored that you would include me in your podcast because, doing a little research before the show, and as somebody who's listened in the past, I got a lot to live up to.
Oh my goodness. We're so excited that you are in here. And as we explained, everybody, that smile is huge. And that is 100% the most important thing that any of us can be wearing is that smile. So, James, we are so honored to have you inside of the cafe with us today. We know that you're going to have fun and you're going to bring a lot of fun to us. We're already having fun, just having a little bit of a conversation, keeping it
absolutely
stirred up.
And one of the things people always ask us is, how do we get on your show? And I always tell people, ask. And that's the thing, and it's where it really starts. Is I'm a humble guy, man. There was a time when this was a new podcast, and when I was scared to ask people to come on the show because I was like, there's no way they'd come on. And now it's honorable to think that people want to come on our show without us having to ask. So ask, because I will probably let you come on the show. Now, you got to be a solutionary. You got to be somebody who shows the features that I'm looking for in a vehicle, right? I want to make sure we have that luxury feel with a little bit of sports sedan feel, right? I got to have that person. That's what I'm looking for. So if you're out there, if you're one of those solutionaries, reach out to us. We want you on the show. But James, you're more than just a solutionary, man. You're a certified solutionary, and you're somebody that I am looking forward to talking to. You have many decades worth of experience. You've done retail. You've been a sales manager. You've done pretty much everything you can imagine inside of a dealership. Then you went ahead and you decided to be on the other side of the fence and come on the vendor side. But what that did was it allowed you, much like Lou and I have, to be able to go and spread our wings amongst more dealerships, put energy, bring that smile to dealerships across the country. And I'm going to tell you, that's what was needed. That smile's too big for one store, man. You can't put baby in the corner. You got to let baby out of that corner and let him do his thing, right? So we're super excited to have you on the show. We got people like Tony talking about,
what's up, Tony?
What's up, brother? And I know who this is right here. I looked it up. Facebook user. I know him. I know that guy. That's Dusty Sutherland. What's up, Dusty? Man. So let's get this thing rolling. Before we go anywhere, you already know, and I've been seeing you practice before we did this. Everybody knows what we do before we go any further, right? Lou, tell them what's up.
We drop F-bombs, baby.
Boom.
We make sure to forgive, focus, and fly so that we can keep growing. And it does have to change your physiology. You do got to do the dance moves. You do got to go ahead and get yourself rocking and rolling, because it has to affect everything. It's going to affect your heart, your mind, your body, maybe even the way that you deal with people in your language. Maybe even the things that you look at, you won't see so negative. And maybe the things that you hear, you'll be more cognizant of, and you'll forgive some of the bad stuff that you'll hear. Either way, forgiving, focusing, and flying is how we keep growing. So we are honored to do it with you today. Mr. Klaus, let's go ahead and do that thing. On 3, let's get that tune ready. 1, 2, 3. Forgive.
Focus. Fly. And keep growing. Keep growing. That's right. You are officially in the club. Bottle full of bub. Let's go. Let's have some fun. We got a fresh brew just for you, my friends. We're going to hit him with this 5-liner, and this 5-liner is going to be amazing. I already know that his story is going to be just dope, right? So get ready for it. First question, James, is what's your why? What's your purpose? What drives you every single day to wake up with that smile and go out and be the best version of yourself?
Well, it's not an easy question to answer, but I have a lot of whys, not a why, right? Yeah. But first is, life is fun, and we're blessed every day to get an opportunity to be on this planet. So every day you got to maximize your potential. You got to maximize what you're doing and all the interactions that you have. Your negative attitude, your anything, your positivity can affect people that you don't even realize you're affecting. So first, you get to affect others every day. So why? Well, why should I do my best? For other people, for my team. There's other families that rely on me every single day. So if my why is not in place, their why might not be in place, and the trickle-down effect is very negative. Next, of course, the most important thing in my world is my family. Now, I know this is a common one, but it's truthful. I have a 7-year-old daughter. I have a 9-year-old daughter. I have a wife that I love dearly. Every day, they make sacrifices so I can do what I am passionate about for a living. And if I ever slack off, I am letting them down. Fred, we were talking before we got on the call about you were up at 3:30 this morning on your way to the airport. And I shared with you a story about my why, and I think you heard it, but I'll repeat it for the podcast.
Please do.
Which was, when I'm on the road, when I'm out with clients, that means I have made a decision to be away from my family and those that I love dearly. And if you really want to know what your why is, be at that client dinner at 8:00 at night that on Facebook looks like the greatest thing in the world. But really, you get a call from your wife, and it's your kids, and it's bedtime, and daddy's not home.
Yeah.
And when you do that FaceTime, you give them that 10 minutes, you get back to that table, and you know what your why is. And you just hung up on your why, and you're away from them, right? So that's obviously one of my massive whys, right? When I joined Dealer Teamwork, when I made the jump from dealer to vendor, my family had to make massive sacrifices. We had to move from Bozeman, Montana, where I was running a Ford store, to Minneapolis, Minnesota. We had to uproot the kids. My wife had to leave her job because I was traveling so much that she had to sacrifice her career so my career could flourish. If that's not a why, I don't know what else is. Then on top of that, I get to influence my team every day. My team means the world to me. Brian, Mike Q. Arredondo, Jamie Putnam, all of these great human beings.
Love that.
I have a bad day, they suffer. So that's just the James Klaus short version of my why.
And we are so glad to get it.
Dude, but that's I like how you layered that.
Layers, baby.
The first thing you said was you have a multitude of whys, and it's so true. But you know, your biggest why, and I love that because I think it's every one of us who have a loving family like we do, a supportive family that makes sacrifices with us, the same sacrifices we make because they feel the pain just like we do, but they also feel the love because they know how much work we're putting in. It's important that why's there. For those moments when you'd rather not do something, think of that.
Oh,
you know what I mean? It's best.
What it's all about. When you want to stop, right? When you want to take a day off, when you want to, you know, maybe try to, you know, have somebody cover that last meeting for the day. And then you realize that the reaction behind that, it better level set your head. You know what I mean? And my wife took a flyer. You know what I mean? Like, let's be real. I'm a car guy in Bozeman, Montana. I grew up in Michigan, but I'm running a store in Montana. We're flourishing. We're doing great. We're living a great existence. Kids are happy. Wife gets to ski every day. You know, she's got a great job. We live in a place now that everybody watches Yellowstone. Everybody thinks that's what it is. But then to leave that to move back to the Midwest, where my roots are the Midwest. You know, I'm from Michigan, but when they put that level of faith in you, when they put that much behind you, you better succeed.
So true.
It's so true. It's like, and then for those moments where you feel like, is there a reason? Like, what? I'm exhausted. Think of that too. I mean, you can keep laying that on. That's why my first question is always the why. And that's like Simon Sinek says, it all starts with the why. And if you don't have that, then it's going to be those moments when you just won't do it. It's hard to do something when there's not something there to motivate you to do it, because it's easy to just relax because no one will know.
Let me ask you a quick question. Have you ever had Dan Moore on the podcast?
I have. Yes. I love some Dan Moore.
All right. Have you ever watched his TED Talk? Is your why
a
lie?
Oh yeah.
I mean, that'll level set you real fast.
Yep.
Yeah, no, he
got to share that on the show, actually.
He did. He's amazing.
That was great stuff. That was great.
Amazing guy. You know, and we got Tim Wilson saying hi, guys, but he also says, no way I take a day off. I'm too much of a workaholic. Yeah, Tim, you are. Relax. Don't do it. Enjoy. But the thing is, and I understand Tim is trying, he's on a mission right now himself. We all are, you know, and that's why I love connecting with people like you, James, and Tim. I see, you know, out there, Dusty, everybody, Tony, everybody who's on here watching. I appreciate you guys, and everybody who watches this on the replay. I know your hearts. I know what you guys are on. This is why this industry is really awesome right now. There's a lot of great things happening. A lot of people on this trajectory to the freaking top of this mountain, and I'm pumped up about it. So, you know, keep your focus on that why, folks. Understand that's where he's at. He understands there's sacrifices we all make, whether we're at a job here or we're traveling. We're making sacrifices away from home, you know. And if you're going to make those sacrifices, don't make them like worthless. Make it purposeful. Make it a reason. That way it doesn't feel like a sacrifice anymore. It just feels like you're doing something for the greater good. So
always. But keeping the why in the forefront, right? That's the challenge.
I know.
And sometimes those phone calls, sometimes that FaceTime at the end of the night, sometimes just hearing what's going on with the kids, letting them pour their heart out and just say what's going on. Those are the things that help keep that why on the forefront, keep that why in focus. Whether it's, I mean, not everybody's traveling like us, right? When you jump on the other side of the table, that comes with plane tickets and new rides, and you're going all over the place, right? Because there's so many other people out there to connect to. Those that are stable at home, you're going home and you're kissing your family goodnight and you're kissing them goodbye in the morning. The important thing is, though, be present when you're present, right? Focus on them while you're with them. If we're at work, remembering to focus on our why, right? Remember when you're around the why, don't be so focused on work. Car guys.
Well, there's one other thing that I left out in my why that's actually super important. And I'd like to share that is,
come on.
As a former retail guy, right? 15 years in retail, starting when I was 21 years old, you know, pretty young man. You guys, former retail, helping people going through what I went through when I was in retail, when I was a young manager, when I was a showroom salesperson, when I couldn't get a deal bought because I wasn't a subprime hero. I was just a subprime trier as a rookie, right? And I didn't have somebody there to help me figure out how to structure the deal properly to get it bought, right? Maybe I had them on the wrong car, right? Maybe I put them on a $70,000 Super Duty when I should have had them on a $12,000 Taurus, right? But
True.
I was young, but when I get to go back into stores, like I bet you guys, when you get to go into stores and you get to look at somebody and go, hey, Lou, remember when I had that same problem and I didn't have anybody to help me? Let's help him. There is a satisfaction that comes with that and a sense of self-worth that comes with that, that helping others, that's also a big part of the why. It's helping people with problems that you maybe didn't have help with, or just helping another person.
Come on. That's exactly why. One, we're brewing with him, folks. Can you hear it? We are trying to cultivate a culture that is bringing in the most caffeinated of the professionals in our industry that are brewing solutions. And you hear that, but that's the heartbeat of it.
Yes.
Right. You want to make sure that you are bringing true fulfillment to not just the customer you're doing business with, but the colleagues that are around you. Pouring something that you have inside of your cup into someone else's doesn't mean that you lost it.
Yep.
Right. It actually means that you amplified it. You made that gift even bigger. And speaking of gifts, we do have this gift that comes in a package called James Klaus to the industry. And we want to know, what was it that brought this incredible package to the industry? James, what brought you to Automotive?
So a rather typical automotive story, but with a little flair to it. So
come on.
My wife, who was then my girlfriend at the time, was in New Zealand for 3 months doing a little walkabout, so to speak. So I got this crazy idea, right? You like that, do you, Fred? So I got a crazy idea. I'm living in the Midwest. I met up with some of my buddies, and they're like, Bozeman, Montana is awesome. It ain't nothing like Michigan. And I was like, all right. Cool. So I packed up a U-Haul. I put all of our stuff in it, and I moved to Bozeman, Montana. Wow. Right?
Ooh.
My girlfriend at the time, again, now wife, calls me from New Zealand and says, what are you doing? And I said, we live in Montana now.
You know.
And so she had to change her plane ticket back, and we lived in Montana.
Wow.
So we're there. We've been there for about 6 months, and I'm just kind of goofing around, going skiing, hanging out in a mountain college town. I'm pretending like I'm going to go back to college soon. And I get a job selling office supplies part-time. So I get to the little office supply spot every morning at 6:00. I load up my van and I drive around to local businesses and I drop off paper and printer supplies and that kind of stuff. I went into a store called Montana Import Group. And I noticed they were on my sheet like 3 times a week for like 4 or 5 cases of paper at a time. So I walk in and I talk to the general manager and I say, hey, you get a discount if you just bought a pallet of paper at a time, and I could just bring you a pallet and I can help you stock it. And he's like, well, why would I do that? I go, well, 1, your people wouldn't be calling me all the time because they run out of paper because you're buying 3 or 4 cases at a time. And 2, you get a bulk discount. He sat me down, asked me how much money I was making. And I told him, and he laughed at me. He laughed at me pretty heavily. And he said, all right, you're going to work here. I'll train you, I'll teach you the ropes, and this is what you're going to make. And I said, all right, well, let me give my current employer 2 weeks notice and I'll be in. That blew his mind. He had never heard of 2 weeks notice. He's like, we don't have that in our business.
So I'm not in your business yet.
So I gave 2 weeks notice and I started selling cars.
Beautiful.
The next thing you know is I met one of my great mentors, Greg Morris. He was the used car manager there. And 15 years later, I was still in retail. But it was that conversation and that one sale of paper that got me into the automotive industry. And then month 1, I did what every new car salesman does. I followed the process. I made more money than I had business making before I got to month 2 and 3 when I thought I figured it out. And we all know what happened.
And he said, I don't know.
Official car guy. That is the story right there, my friends. We've all been through it.
Got his deal.
But man, that's an awesome story. But what you did there, and I want people to hear like what he did when he went in there and he talked to them, and he went in because he had a purpose. He had a solution for their problem. The problem was that they constantly ran out of paper. So they had that issue of making too many phone calls, waiting for paper to be delivered. He also found a solution by giving them a way to save money with it. Not only will I be able to bring it and you guys won't run out of paper, and we'll make this almost like a subscription thing. You just keep reloading it up. So we know how much you do about a month, but I'm going to save you money by doing it this way. That's what I do. I'm a solutionary. So you were a solutionary since day one. That's why the guy was like, I need to hire you, because you weren't trying to sell him anything. You were solving his problem that he didn't even know he had. And that's amazing. That's a great story. Great story. Welcome to the car business.
Welcome. And he came right in with good people able to recognize what's in him.
That was dope.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what's so important about all of us leaders and anybody around. If you recognize something inside of somebody, point it out, show it to them, let them know, especially if it's great. Right. We're so good at highlighting the things that we don't like in other people that when you see something that's valuable, sow into it, pour into it, speak it, and then watch it grow. And that's awesome that you had a great mentor to kick you off like that. I'm sure that there were plenty more as we saw your career move on to where it is now. I bet that there are a bunch of those mentors out there, huh, Fred?
Oh, there's tons.
Oh, yeah.
I was very blessed. Greg Morris is the name of the gentleman that I'm talking about right now.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up following him to a different dealer group a few years later. I still talk to him. He's retired now. I still talk to him about twice a month, and I just run ideas and things past him. Relationships like that, they don't die. They live on forever, and they're very special. Everybody has to take a chance on that 22, 23-year-old kid at some point to see something in them. As car guys, you'll appreciate this. Greg, if my head got into a bad space, and you can see the way I light up when I talk about Greg, he's a very, very special human being to me. He used to grab me and he'd put me in a car and he would take me to the crappiest dealership in town. And we would drive their lot. And then he would look at me and he'd say, "Aren't you glad you don't have to sell this crap?"
I love it, man.
Awesome. Yeah,
but it's perspective, because sometimes we think the grass is greener, and that's a way to show you it's not, man. Be thankful for what you have. I love that. Those are small lessons.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got people like Brad Pascal talking about, I'm proud to be one of his mentors. I love you, Brad. Oh, folks, tomorrow, Fixed Ops Friday, baby. We're going to be talking about Fixed Ops Digital. Yeah. It's going to be a special about all the new things that are going on, so make sure you guys tune into that. I know James will be watching it. Folks, we appreciate you for tuning in today. Man, this is being good. We're going to keep this thing rolling because we do have another question for you. And I'm excited to ask this next question because Lou tossed it up to me a moment ago, but we kept going. And it's exactly right. We're talking about mentors. We know one of your greatest mentors already, man. It's great that you ran into that, had somebody like that. But I know along the way you've had some other mentors. Who would you say, list a couple mentors to you that have been really big parts of your growth up to today?
Absolutely. Eric Milch, huge fan of co-founder of my current company, Dealer Teamwork. Sean Stapleton, our other co-founder. They saw something in me in Montana running that store that put a faith in me to move me to Minnesota and to teach me the other side, to teach me the vendor side and how to bring solutions to the table, right? That'll resound with me forever. Again, those relationships never die. Eric teaching me SEO, teaching me SEM, making sure I understood used cars, because I spent about 3 years at the auctions, right? I would wake up on a Tuesday. I would fly to the Phoenix Auto Auction. I'd go to hit Salt Lake. I'd hit Spokane. Then I'd drive a car back to the dealership after that for the Friday morning sales meeting and then go through the rundown list of what we purchased, right? These mentors taught me everything. But the most important thing that I learned from all of them, whether it was Sean, whether it was Eric, whether it was Greg, was how to treat your people. Because there was a reason that I'm so loyal to the people that I'm talking about right now. And loyalty doesn't end when you leave a dealership, right? You can be loyal to people after that. So when I think about how these people help me, they help me both professionally and personally. They taught me how to deal with certain situations, and they taught me how to fail properly. Because that's one thing everybody thinks you're not going to have happen is you're not going to fail.
Silly.
fail all the time. I probably failed 38 times today already. I just don't know it yet. But I'll learn from that and I'll move on. And then there's one other person I got to call out. It's a guy named Edward Kohler. Ed Kohler was the person at Bozeman Ford, which was my old store, that sat me down one day and just said, "You're bigger than this." Mm-hmm. And he helped me to see it was time to take a jump. And that was really special to me.
Man.
Wow. That's crucially valuable, right? That you have the opportunity to not just have one, not just have two, right? To have these multiple people look at you and tell you what it is that maybe you don't believe yet, right? I'm bigger than this. What do you mean? What do you mean I'm bigger than this? What do you mean I'm more than this? What do you mean there's more? Right? I thought I found the lucky ticket, right? I'm in Wonderland right now. What do you mean there's more? What more is there to have? I love that you've had people call that out inside of you. And again, implore all of you leaders that are listening, watching, catching replays, catching it live, call those things out. Speak those things out of the people that you're around. Let them know that you see it, that you recognize it. And you know what you're going to see more of? That thing that you highlight that you like. Right? No different than a kid that if they do one thing that makes it the whole room laugh, right? That toddler, they're going to do it like 70,000 more times because the room laughed one time for it, right? And because there's an encouragement that comes when you give them the attention to the thing that they did or the thing that you recognize in them. So with those that you recognize great stuff in, highlight it, speak about it, celebrate it, have a great news meeting about it, and keep encouraging your people. Mm-hmm. Love that you have that many mentors to lean back on, which is always good, especially inside of those hard lessons in life, those moments that really take you back. You have to have those people to lean back on. So we're just going to keeping this flowing. What has been one of the hardest lessons you've had to deal with growing to where it is that you are now?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of them, right? The first one that comes to mind is there's a lesson that you learn when you do make the jump from a dealer to a vendor. And that lesson has been learned by a lot of us, which is you're not nearly as popular as you think you are. Because you jump sides, and all of a sudden, all these people that were in 20 group with you, all these people that you sat on maybe an FDAF board with or whatever, they look at you a little different. Now you can overcome that, but watching loyalties change was a very hard lesson for me. But the hardest lesson ever, and it was the reason, unfortunately, that I had to leave my first store and why Greg and I went into a different dealer group, was after about a year and a half at this store, being the number 2 salesman every month. I'm not going to lie. John Satterwhite, if you see this, big ups. You always beat me every month. But there was an F&I manager position that became available. And I thought I should get that job. Well, I sat down with the dealer principal and I didn't get it. Was I ready 18 months into the industry? No, I wasn't. But it was a hard lesson. It was hard to hear that I wasn't ready. And that the general manager who I was talking about earlier had left at this time. And they said, well, we don't see it. We don't see you in management. We don't see that as a step for you. And I had to leave the store. I had to go to a different store, which Greg had gone to as well. And he did see it. But hearing somebody tell you that you're not good enough, that you're not going to be able to do it, it was a hard lesson. But it was one of the most valuable points of my entire career, because it was the last time I ever let somebody tell me I couldn't do something. Then when we went to the new store and we started selling 200 a month and they were selling 70, well, proof was in the pudding. But that was probably my hardest lesson that I learned in the industry was don't take anything for granted and just know, sometimes you got to leave to move forward.
Oh, dude.
Come on.
So
I guess looking at the screen, I guess that story resounded with some people.
I think so too, 100%. And I think that, to me, you're right on the money. That put a fire inside you that made you go, hold on a second. Then it also made you reflect, like, what were the points? Okay, I'm going to work on those things. Make sure that no one ever tells me they don't see that inside me anymore. You know, you obviously had it inside you. There's no doubt. There's a reason why you're at where you're at today and you're going where you're going tomorrow. But at the end of the day, you had to have somebody believe in you, and you did. You had somebody who did, which was great, right? Greg, I love Greg for that. Greg's high five to him, bam. And, you know, and what I'm saying is that belief was enough. It just takes one person. Really, but the biggest person that needs to believe is yourself.
Right.
And that's the thing. I think the hardest lesson there was that you had to believe in yourself. And I think that you did. And then you found it and you went out and you made it happen. And look where he's at, like I said. And it's just beginning. You're just starting. Even though you've been doing it as long as you have, much like Lou and I, we're a couple decades in ourselves. We're still just beginning. We have a lot more room for improvement. I love that, though. I think that's what makes life so amazing. You know, like Jason Garris says, no wall, wood, stone could hold you from your potential. And he's right. And that's somebody, Jason, I guarantee, was told many times he couldn't do something.
Mm-hmm.
And Jason Garris is one of those guys that proves to so many people, oh, I could do anything I want to.
Right.
If you want to talk about infectious energy.
Oh, dude.
I mean,
G-Man is the one right there. I love that guy. Miss you, Jason, by the way. We love you, brother. Love you.
Thank you for the package.
Tell Ashley and Karma we said what's up. But, you know, yeah, dude, things are great. We love the people around us. I believe in you, James. I love it. I love it. So, you know, those lessons are needed to be learned. Well, as we get in this business, if we didn't have any lessons learned, we probably didn't even try. That's just telling you. That's the thing. Like, we don't fail unless we try. If someone tells you, I've never failed, I always win. You barely tried then. You ain't challenging yourself. You must live a very boring life, a very vanilla, you know, boring, like that's all. No, that's not all, folks. It's the failures is where the love's at. The failures is where the fun's at. The failure is where massive growth comes from. So get involved in that. Like he said earlier, and I love that you said that, you have to get used to that. You have to feel that. You have to like understand what that is. It's like a muscle. Failure is something, if you've never done it before, it's scary. It's like a roller coaster. But once you've done it, you start to realize and you move forward from it. Instead of sitting there and using it as an excuse, you use it as a measuring tool. Okay, I did this, it didn't work. Let me try this. That is where it becomes great.
Well, it's kind of like, and I hate to say it like this, but and maybe the younger generation maybe doesn't hear it quite like this. Remember the first time you got punched in the face? Right? Exactly. You guys laugh because we're a little older, right? And you go,
oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I didn't break. I'll be okay. You know what I mean? And then you realize after that, you're not that scared of it anymore.
Nope.
Right. So I feel failure or things you have to overcome kind of fall along that line.
That's
where you're like, you know, every once in a while I'm going to get punched in the nose. That's okay. I can either get a new nose, fix the one I got, or just deal with a broken one. I'll be okay.
And that's exactly why we asked the question, because there's so much that we can celebrate about everybody's wins. And we're very good about sharing our wins. And don't get it wrong. We are all about pumping up a positive culture, all about making sure we do that. But a lot of the growth that comes to us is when we start to tear up the muscles, when we start to feel a little bit of those growth pains, when we start to deal with the things that make the stuff that's in us, that's impeding our growth, have to get dealt with. Right? We have to get those things off the table so that we can cultivate whatever it takes for our culture to be growing something big. And that's awesome that you do that. And yes, a lot of times it's a punch in the face. It's a slug in the gut, right? But you have incredible people that are telling you how great you are. You have James, you have Dusty that's letting you know, James, you are doing a great job and everyone is proud of you 100%. We are all proud of him, everybody. Go ahead. If you're proud of my boy James over here, make sure that you throw a couple clapping hand emojis inside of the comments. Make sure that he knows that. Blow him up.
Folks, there's so many ways that we can do. You guys can leave a comment. If you guys want to, look, here's his email address. Send him an email and let him know how awesome he is. If you want to get in touch with him about what he does, reach out to him. He's an amazing guy. Folks, I'm even going to put his cell phone number out here. You could even text him. Reach out to him. Let him know what's going on. Let him know how great he is. Send him a big thumbs up emoji. Send him a GIF, whatever the heck it is, GIF. You send it to him. You have fun with it, right? But here's the deal, folks. James is somebody that we really, really are excited to have on the show. We're pumped up that he's on here. He's telling us his story. We've heard a lot of amazing things. We've heard his why. We went through and we talked about things that are great. What got him in this industry? We talked about, of course, his mentors, and he has so many to talk about. That's an amazing thing that he knows that he's had mentors to be able to reach out to, touch, speak to, have friends with, become family with, right? People that he can look, even people you've never met. I know I use mentors all over the place, right? I use books as mentors because it was written by a certain person. I'm going to start. Anyway, that being said, mentorship is great. We talked about, of course, the greatest lessons, that we learn in this industry in life. I love this. What has been your greatest reward? What up to this point, all the stuff that you've done, what would you consider your greatest reward up to today?
Wow. That's a big one. I honestly have to say, providing a life for my children that's better than the life that I grew up with.
Amen.
So let's think about this. I came into a car industry. Car industry is the best industry in the world because the potential is limitless for everyone.
Amen.
If you're willing to work hard and put yourself out there, I mean, there's not a dealer in this world that won't follow you, that won't allow you to come into their store and try to flourish. And if there is, stay away. But
just don't go there.
the rewards are huge.
Yep.
But watching my children, right, have a life that I couldn't imagine, right? I'm not from Minnesota, but living here now, I have learned that if you have children in hockey, it is extremely expensive. So
hockey ain't cheap. Yeah,
it's not. And it also takes up a lot of time. But watching them be able to do whatever they want, right?
Oh, man.
Allowing them to go to schools that I could never imagine going to. My 7-year-old and my 9-year-old are fluent in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish, but they go to Spanish immersion schools where they speak zero English all day, every day. And when they get to 8th grade, they transition from Spanish into Chinese or Mandarin immersion.
Oh, cool.
So by the time they graduate high school, they will be fluent in English, Spanish, and Mandarin.
Wow.
So I'm setting them up for a life that I could never have imagined for myself because I can barely speak English.
Amen.
And watching them have these opportunities, watching them literally, the world's their oyster. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. And the rewards are bigger than me. They're others. What's another great reward? What's one of the biggest rewards you'll ever have is the people you care about having success. I'm going to tell you a story real quick about a young man that worked for me named Kyle McKenzie. Nice. Kyle McKenzie is one of my favorite people in this whole world. He was my intern, right? And Kyle's my intern. He's going to help me with Salesforce, help monitor my emails, send some follow-ups, kind of be like a little personal assistant for me. Nah, it's not what Kyle wanted to do, right? So Kyle would come back to dealer teamwork every day, and he's my summer intern. He's at the Carlson School of Business at the University of Minnesota. And he comes into my office one day and goes, deal. And he's putting 7, 8 signed contracts from dealers to do business with dealer teamwork on my desk. And I said, Kyle, what'd you do? Those weren't even in my pipeline. And he goes, well, my dad is a managing partner of a store. And I said, yeah, I'm familiar with your dad. We're friends. And he goes, so instead of doing what you told me to, excuse me, I just called every person in my dad's 20 groups, and he was in a GM 20 group. He was in a Ford 20 group, and he was in a Chrysler 20 group. And he's like, I got these 8 to sign up without even seeing a product demonstration. Wow. And I went, wow, you're going places.
Yeah, dude.
And you're going.
So then I decided I'm going to pay Kyle like a normal sales executive because he did the work. He earns it. Just because his title's intern doesn't mean he didn't do it. Right. And these are all great deals, good dealerships, etc. And I pay him. I get a call from his mom later because mom had access to his bank account and she knew me. And she goes, what are you doing paying Kyle like that? And I said, I'm paying him what he's worth, Karen. I mean, straight up. I'm paying him what he's worth. And she goes, if he doesn't graduate from school, you're going to have to deal with me. Then I said to Kyle, I go, Kyle, summer's almost over. Internship's over. And he goes, but I want to keep working. I go, dude, I'm scared of your mom. Okay.
Your mom.
I need you to, make sure you graduate Carlson School of Business. I'm putting you in a management position when you graduate, right? And you're good. And he goes, okay. Continues to work 40 hours a week for us at Dealer Teamwork while doing 22 credit hours and graduating with honors from the Carlson School of Business, right? And he crushes it. And of course, then he comes to work for us. Wow. Side note, his senior thesis was actually our product overview. He did our demo in front of all of his teachers. That was his senior project.
Nice.
So, because he had already done it. And then and when the teacher said to him, made a couple comments, and he goes, well, it worked when we pitched Ford. Is that a big enough company for you? And then the story gets even better. And then I'll, give somebody else a chance to talk.
No, come on. Show.
He is crushing it. He is crushing it for me. He is making me look like the greatest human being to ever sell software in the automotive space. And he comes to me one day and he goes, James, I'm leaving. And I go, Kyle, what are you doing? He goes, I bought 3 stores.
Wow.
And I go, okay, that's cool. That's awesome. I'll work for you one day. Now he owns 5. He's 27 years old.
Wow.
One of my greatest rewards has watched him flourish.
Wow.
Wow, dude.
What a victory.
That is huge. That is huge. That is exactly when I want to hear great rewards, that's right there. That's exactly right. It's like you said, it's outside my life. What I've done with the career that I've been part of, what have I seen and been part of that has been great outside of something like that will blow your mind. And man, is that a great story. You got Jonathan Dawson saying, what's up, James? Hey, James. And he says that his child is fluent in English and Russian. I already knew that. There's no doubt, and that's great. And Jonathan Dawson, legend, man. Appreciate you and congratulations on your recent success, opening of your new training facility, dude. It's amazing. But man, seriously, just thinking about that, and I think we all could agree that when we see people, whether it's our children, our friends, the people that we get to be leaders for, people we get to be leaders with, do things that are amazing, and we know that we were just there to even just witness it, or maybe even just be there to encourage them to do it, it's huge for us. And that's why we do what we do. And I think that's why your smile is as big as it is, man, because you get to know that you're doing that all the time. You're doing it in so many ways. You do it at home. You do it with your teammates. You do it with the dealers, and you know that they're doing it for their clients. It works all the way down, and those clients have families too. And you could just keep it going and going. It's the cycle of life, my friends. But that is a great reward, man. And my great reward was having you on the show today. What a great interview this was, man. I mean, you really killed it. You knocked it out the park with some great stuff. What I love is your story. I love that you came into this business. This is the stories that I want to hear. These are the stories you all need to hear. Share this to people that want to be in this industry. Great people are in this industry. People make sacrifices to be in this industry. And there's people out there making sacrifices, and their families are making sacrifices. But yet, they get to live the lives they've never imagined, lives that are better than the ones we grew up with, the ones so our kids can speak fluently in any language they want, go skiing and do anything they want to do, go travel the world and see the world. I know that your children are going to leave school knowing that they can be international if they want. You speak Mandarin and Spanish, you are international.
Come on.
You can do business anywhere. That is huge. So, folks, our kids are the future. Be a leader. Be a great reward for your family like he is. I'm excited. This was a great show. Lou, what do you got to say to that?
An incredible show. I mean, looking at the storyline, right? This is something that is fun for us to get when we just ask everybody, what's their story? It's so we can find so many similarities inside of our lives, and we can also find something to pull from how you did what you're doing, and know that if you can face challenges, and then you can have good mentorship, and you can keep your focus on making sure that you're pouring something into somebody else's life to see a great result from it, well, man, keep those things on the forefront so that you never get bored doing what it is that you're passionate about. So many times we can go through the motions, and that's because I believe we lost focus on our why. We lost focus on the victories and the great news and the gratitude that we should be operating in, because other people are flourishing right around us. When you have seed bearing fruit, bearing more fruit, oh my goodness, that is legacy. And we are all about some of that legacy. And brother, we are so honored that you spent that time with us today, and that you have been brewing solutions, and that we did get this chance to interview you. But we want to make sure that people do know what it is that you're brewing as your specific solution for the industry. Go ahead and let them know what it is that you are cooking up that they need to be sipping on, eating on, chewing on, just getting down with. Talk about it real quick, James.
Absolutely. So we provide a lot of solutions at Dealer Teamwork, primarily from the marketing end of the business. So we are a Google Premier partner, which means we are the top 3% of agencies in the country, not just automotive specific. So top 3%, doesn't matter, whether you're in HVAC or cars, right? So we take a lot of pride in that. We're Facebook Blueprint certified, and we have some of the best Facebook offerings on the planet. We also have a proprietary technology called an MPOP that allows us to tie all of a dealership's marketing together out of one platform while creating the best paid search, SEM, SEO, and then tying everything back to highly optimized landing pages, ensuring the dealership's message is at the forefront of where the customer engages. So if you click on an ad, don't go to a VDP, go to a place that shows that same relevant message on why that person went there. So that's kind of our little elevator pitch from me, but Dealer Teamwork, best in class, certified with Ford, FCA, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Mazda, Kia, the list goes on. And we're crazy, right? So just heads up. We had a lot of energy. Myself, Sean, Eric, and team. We got a huge automotive background. So reach out. I will warn you, I am long-winded, so you will lose 5 minutes of your life, but it'll be worth it.
It's so worth it. It's so worth it, as you all can see. And here's the truth. One thing's for sure, James, you are 100% CGC approved, my friend.
That's right.
That's right.
He knows everybody that
he is CGC approved. CGC approved.
Give him a hand clap.
CGC approved.
Let him know the deal. And it's that high energy. It's the enthusiastic attitude. And it is the promotion of positivity that keeps him being one of the high quality beans that we are honored to have had brewed with here inside of the cafe. Thank you so much, James. So you know what we got to do before we get on out of here, and we say sayonara to all you fellas, car guys, car gals. We got to make sure that we forgive, focus, fly, and head out. Have a great time, everybody. Have an incredible weekend. First weekend of June. This is like the bonus weekend, everybody. Make something happen. Make things happen inside of your stores. Make something happen inside of your organization. And by all means, share this around and let people know how they can be sipping on solutions too. James, we honor you. We appreciate you, brother. Let's go ahead and forgive, focus, fly as we head out of here for the day. Got to get them tunes going. So on 3, everybody. 1, 2, 3. Forgive, focus, fly, and keep growing.
Keep growing. That's right, my friends.
Woo, we had
Everybody.
an incredible time. Thank you so much. I am Lou Ramirez, the car guy.
And I'm Frelin Arts, subprime hero.
And we have been brewing solutions on the Car Guy Coffee podcast with the one,
the only James Klaus.
That's right, everybody. James, make sure that they know that you love brewing solutions. When you go out there, tell them, go check that out. Go listen to that episode. You need to hear some of that. Put that in your cup and sip on it, everybody. We're so thankful for this time. But until next time, everybody, keep brewing solutions. We out. Bye.